Hey guys, it's Andy, the Self-Help Book Junkie, and we are back with The Science of Getting Rich by Wattles. Yeah, scientific stuff here on how to get rich, but it's really not. So let's talk about it, okay? We have been going through this, and honestly, it's just so powerful. This book is over 100 years old. It is public domain. Just so you know, I'm gonna put it in the description, the link for Project Gutenberg, where you can download it for yourself, because I really want you to support this book. You can also buy it. You can get it from the library. You can actually listen to the audiobook on a YouTube. Yeah, seriously. Let's jump into the next one, because I think it is like, everybody's gonna really need to hear this, okay? If you want a sewing machine, for instance, I do not mean to tell you that you are to impress the thought of a sewing machine on thinking substance until the machine is formed without hands in the room where you sit or elsewhere. But if you want a sewing machine, hold the mental image of it with the most positive certainty that it is being made or it is on its way to you. After once forming the thought, have the most absolute and unquestioning faith that the sewing machine is coming. Never think of it or speak of it in any other way than as being sure to arrive. Claim it as already yours. So I read a little bit more than what I wanted to, but I thought that whole paragraph was amazing, because manifestation, let's talk about it for a second, because people believe that manifestation is something that you just create something out of nothing. Let's say you wanted a notepad. Ooh, world, I want a notepad. Ooh, thank you, world. That's not how it works. What is manifestation? Manifestation is having the thought, and in a sense, yes, it has these cosmic forces behind it. It is not this creating out of nothing. It is not this alchemy of nothing into something. What it is you're impressing the thought into the world, and the world conspires. It moves people, places, things, situations, all of that stuff. It starts moving it so that the thing that you're asking for comes into your life naturally. It isn't about making something happen that isn't supposed to happen. It is about putting out this vibration into the world so that other things happen. So, for instance, you want that sewing machine, right? You're like, yes, I would like a sewing machine. You impress it into the world. You just act like, yeah, no, I'm gonna have a sewing machine. From then on, that's how you act. Suddenly, your aunt calls you and says, hey, I have this sewing machine I was gonna throw away. Do you want it? Just randomly out of nowhere. How many times has that happened to you? Where you think you want something and then all of a sudden it just pops up into your life. You're manifesting. And to be quite honest, you're always manifesting. When you're thinking about the good things in life, you're attracting them you're moving the world so that it comes into your orbit. When you have the negative thoughts, you're bringing those negative things into your life, and by extension, pushing out the things that you want that are good. So it's this ebb and flow, this push, this pull, this in and out that happens with your thoughts. So you have to be constantly vigilant about what it is that you're impressing upon into your vibration, into the world. Remember in the last video, we were talking about how it is about keeping your thoughts into a very specific space, that it takes mental power. It's not about allowing your thoughts to dominate, because once you have the thought that's like, oh, it's never gonna happen, you're already pushing it out. You're already pushing it out. So you have to be constantly vigilant about the way that you think about things, the way that you speak about things, the way that you feel about things. Once you notice that you have something that you're inadvertently pushing it out, take the steps in order to be able to transform it. How do you transform it, you might ask? Well, again, we talked about it in a previous video, but I'm going to recap here. 1 is to notice that you're having the thought. 2 is to desire to change the thought. 3 is to actually start to impose a new thought, and you can do that when you have a heightened sense of feeling of excitement, joy, love, and peace. So if you impose those things, you can start drawing those things into you. But it isn't this magic that happens where all of a sudden something is formulated out of nowhere, out of thin air. That's what people think manifestation is that I want $1 million, and then they look at their bank account and there's $1 million. What could happen is you say, oh, I want $1 million, And then you look into your bank account and out of some bank error, there's $1 million. But it wasn't created out of nothing. Now, if you get to keep that $1 million, that's a different thing, right? But to believe that you can create something out of nothing is leading you down a path that just does not exist. You just don't get to see what's behind the curtain and what is happening outside of you that is actually moving. It's like these chess pieces that are moving behind a curtain and you don't get to see what happens. And then all of a sudden one day, boom, it reveals to you and you're like, wow, I did that. Here's an example of when I manifested a new journal. I journal frequently. I wrote a book about it. It's in the description, FYI. So I go through journals quite frequently. One day I was finishing up one of my journals. I maybe had 3 pages left and I thought, I'm gonna get a new journal. Okay, world, give me a new journal, thank you. And I just let it go. I said, forget it. You know what? If I don't get it, whatever, I can buy a new one. Who cares? The next day I had to go to the post office because I needed to file some paperwork to change my address. In that, the woman had asked me to bring my passport. And I thought, okay, that's weird. I didn't think I needed that, but I'll bring it. Now, I know where my passport is. I know where I keep it. I know in which drawer, where in the cabinet, where it is. I can visualize it. I can see it. But for some reason, this day, I wound up going into another drawer just to check. Don't know why, was totally reflex, just moving in like auto mode, okay? And when I opened the drawer, there was a brand new journal that I had completely forgotten about. And I pulled it out and I was like, thank you, world. Put it down, grabbed my passport, and went. Like, I completely had forgotten that I even had this thing. It wasn't even looking for it, but it just like came out of nowhere. Here's another example of me just manifesting something randomly. So as I had said, I had just moved, and so I needed a new keyring, and I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna buy a keyring. Universe, give me a keyring. Didn't think anything of it because I know I can afford one. I said, whatever. If I get it, whatever. If not, whatever too. Not even a week goes by and the headlight on my car goes out. And so I go and I make an appointment to have it fixed. When I call them, they had an appointment for that same day. I'm like, oh, that's weird. They never have appointments on the same day, but great. And I go and I sit down and I'm waiting for them to fix the headlight. When it's over, they hand me the paperwork, and with the paperwork came a placard that had a brand new keyring on it. I was like, God, you have jokes. This is an expensive keyring, okay? You could have just gave it to me in a way that didn't cost me $145 to fix this light. But it happened, right? I don't get to choose how the stuff comes to me. It just comes to me. So you just put out what you want and say, you know what? I can get it if I want. If I don't, whatever. But God, I would like one for free, and move on with your life. The weirdest, wildest stuff will happen. Okay, guys, that's it for me. This was a fun one. I love sharing my experiences with manifestation because sometimes they're just like so dumb, but I enjoy doing this stuff, okay? Remember to support the book. You can buy it on Amazon. You can get it from Project Gutenberg. You can get it from your library. You can listen to it on YouTube. I'm gonna put all those links. I'm also gonna put a link to my book, Writing for My Life. It's about how to journal, you know, when, where, why, how, my story of journaling. I'm gonna put a link to my podcast so that you guys can get more Andy all of the time, okay? And with that, love you guys, bye.